What did we just witness as a Knicks fan base on Twitter and tonight during the NBA draft? Whoa, I am still confused, but in this video, I'll be giving you guys everything the New York Knicks have done tonight up until this moment with all the trades, all the picks that we acquired, the cap space. I'll be breaking it all down. There was a lot of confusion in the NBA draft tonight when it comes to the New York Knicks and what they did with that 11th overall pick. There was so much going on Twitter where it was so hard to follow. My head is still hurting right now as we speak. The Knicks do have a second round pick tonight, and as I'm recording this video, they did not make that selection yet, but they will be doing that later on tonight, and I'll be probably making a video on that later tonight or tomorrow morning on that. But in this one, we'll be breaking down all the moves that the Knicks did tonight in order to acquire more cap space and acquire a lot of draft capital for the future. But the one thing that we do know is the Knicks are not coming away with the first round pick in the 2022 NBA draft, and I'll be breaking down everything that happened. So first and foremost, let's just talk about the whole Jaden Ivey situation, right? This is where it all started. The Detroit Pistons select Jaden Ivey at number 5, and then all of a sudden, I knew the NBA draft is different, right? For any NFL fans out there that watch the NFL draft, you guys know that the trades work a little differently, where if there's a trade, they trade up while they're on the clock, and that team trades up and then they announce the pick. Whereas the NBA draft, trades can happen after they announce that pick, even if they go up there and put on the cap. So even when I saw Jaden Ivey out there on the stage, and I'm like, there is still a chance that the Knicks can trade up for him, and hopefully there'll be a report. And then all of a sudden we see rumors that the Knicks are trying to trade up for him. The Knicks were really aggressive in their pursuit for Jaden Ivey, but overall the Detroit Pistons felt like it would be better to keep him because that pairing of Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey is pretty ridiculous. So the Detroit Pistons low-key killed this NBA draft. But I did like that the Knicks were aggressive in getting Jaden Ivey, but unfortunately they cannot get the job done. So that's where the chaos really started tonight. Me on Twitter refreshing, are the Knicks getting Jaden Ivey? Oh, we have to wait till number 11 to see if all these players are going to be available. Are they going to get them? Is Durant going to be there for the Knicks to potentially trade to the Detroit Pistons? And then we eventually go on the clock, and then the Knicks draft a player that they trade to the Oklahoma City Thunder. So then everything gets flipped upside its head at this moment, and we're like, wait a second, what are the Knicks doing right now? And the Knicks trade that 11th pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder for 3 future first-round picks. And then we get into the 13th pick, and the Knicks are part of a 3-team trade, and they partner up Kemba Walker, a first-round pick, and 4 second-round picks to move on off of Kemba Walker's contract so they can clear up cap space. I know this is a lot to process. It took me a long time to understand this as well, but here's a tweet that I found on Twitter from Tim Bontemps that really broke this down. So what the Knicks did tonight is they traded the 11th pick to OKC. OKC gives the Knicks 3 first-round picks, the 2023 Denver pick, 23 Detroit pick, and the 23 Washington pick. And then they go out there and they trade the first-round pick from Denver and 4 seconds to Charlotte for the 13th pick that they eventually flipped. And then the Knicks trade their 13th pick and Kemba Walker to Detroit for the 25 first-round pick from the Milwaukee Bucks. So the New York Knicks trade the 11th pick, Kemba, and 4 second-round picks, and they get 3 future first-round picks. I'm sorry, that was a mouthful. It's still hard for me to process this, but all in all, the Knicks are coming away from this NBA draft with 3 future first-round picks, 2 additional picks next year, and a pick in 2025, plus around $14 million in cap space. Now, what does this tell me? The Knicks are definitely going out there and going to be pursuing Jalen Brunson. That's been the player that's been linked to the Knicks in free agency for quite some time, and it's pretty obvious where they're going towards in the free agency market. My biggest question is, number 1, is Jalen Brunson worth this much in order to sacrifice all these picks and, ship off a mistaken Kemba Walker by having to give up 5 picks in order to get off that contract? Is Jalen Brunson this gigantic superstar that's going to change this organization? He's not. I mean, I like Jalen Brunson. He's a solid player. He's not a scrub by any means. He was a big reason why the Dallas Mavericks were in the Western Conference Final. He was that Robin next to Luka Doncic. But at the same time, man, I just don't see Jalen Brunson as this guy that's going to be a game changer that's going to, take this team to the promised land, right? What do we want as Knicks fans? We want championships, right? We don't want to just be competent and be decent. We want to go for it all, and the Knicks are just not anywhere close to that, as we all know. So the first instinct that I have tonight was very disappointed in Leon Rose, not going to lie. His conservative route I appreciate in the previous years by trading back and acquiring a lot of assets. But my biggest concern is, what's the vision here? There has to be some type of vision that we just don't see yet. And if that vision is Jalen Brunson, then there it is. But what if, and I might sound a little crazy right here, guys, what if there's something that we just don't see yet, like a big time trade for a guy like Murray or a guy like Donovan Mitchell? We have so much ammunition in order to make that actually happen now. Now, I'm not saying this is what the Knicks are trying to do. This is what I would do. That's what would get me excited. Going out there and getting the Spurs guard in Murray would make me excited. Going out there and getting Donovan Mitchell from the Utah Jazz would get me pretty damn excited. Giving up all these assets and giving up Kemba Walker to shed off cap space just to get Jalen Brunson, that's not going to move the needle for me. It's definitely an improvement. It's definitely a good point guard that's going to help out the Knicks win more games, but it's not going to make me feel like, oh my God, Jalen Brunson, RJ, Julius, Obi, Quickly, D-Rose, like all those guys coming back with just the addition of Brunson doesn't move it for me, right? It doesn't make me feel like we're going to be, going to the conference finals or anything this year. I know that Jalen Brunson's a solid player, but I think you guys know what I'm trying to say here. So all in all, man, you just got to look at the big picture. What the New York Knicks did tonight is they moved on from the 11th pick to shed off Kemba Walker's salary. They got more money in the cap space for free agency, and they got 3 first-round picks, 2 next year and 1 in 2025. And the Knicks have 4 first-round picks next season. Now, I know a lot of them are protected, and I could get into all the protected picks if you guys want me to. That's still confusing. But basically, the Knicks got the Milwaukee 25 picks, that is a top 4 protected, the Washington 23 pick, which is top 14 protected, and the Detroit first round pick in 2023, which is top 18 protected. So there are some protections on these picks, which makes them a little less valuable, but protected picks gets traded all over the place. So I feel like these picks will be used in trades rather than using them for picks next year. Like, I do not think the Knicks are going to be drafting 4 players in the first round next year, because remember, we have our own pick, we have the Dallas pick, and now we have Washington's and Detroit's pick in the 2023 NBA draft. And then we also got Milwaukee's first round pick in 2025. That was part of the Grant trade from the Portland Trailblazers. If you guys remember, that whole thing happened. A lot of things to really organize in my brain. I hope that I simplified it for you guys. I'm confused still. So I hope that this kind of simplified it a little bit for you guys, because I'm still trying to wrap my head around the vision. Because all in all, guys, we don't know the vision, right? We're just looking at all the moves that the Knicks made. What type of picks did we get? How much money did we create? But we don't know what they're going to do with that money. We don't know what they're going to do with those picks. What we do know is there's guys like Jalen Brunson who's going to be available on the open market. But my biggest question is, if that's what you're trying to do, is that what you're trying to accomplish, of putting all your eggs in the basket for Jalen Brunson and he resigns with Dallas? What's the plan? I mean, what are we going to do without a first round pick to develop? It is kind of disappointing to me, not going to lie, that we don't even have a first-round pick to add to the young nucleus. I mean, I love the young core we have with RJ and Quickly and Obi and all the guys on the roster, and I would have liked to add another first-round pick to that nucleus. But we have to sacrifice the 11th pick. I do like us getting 3 first-round picks from that, but then we had to package one of those first-round picks plus 4 second-round picks just to get off Kemba Walker's contract. That's pretty crazy. It really is crazy. The fact that the Knicks had to give up a first-round pick and 4 second-round picks just to give up Kemba Walker's contract is kind of mind-boggling, even though we actually did get back, the 2025 Milwaukee first-round pick. So that kind of makes me feel a little better about that. So we did come away with 3 future first-round picks and $14 million in cap space. They're still trying to get up to that 25 mark so we can get Jalen Brunson in free agency. So that's really my thoughts of the recap of all the trades that went down leading up to the first round of the NBA draft the New York Knicks did. I know a lot of Knicks fans are disappointed. I know a lot of Knicks fans are still confused. I'm still confused, but I really hope that I simplified this enough in this video for you guys to understand it, because this was a lot. This was a lot of things to figure out. There's so many different reports. On ESPN, they're not even talking about any of this. And then Stephen A. Smith and Jalen Rose are talking about, a player the Knicks didn't even draft. I mean, they're talking about Duren being on the Knicks. No, he's not on the Knicks. He got traded. Everyone was confused tonight. The NBA draft was just a mess, in my opinion. I don't understand why it's such a big, who's drafted who. This player gets announced by the Rockets, but actually he's going that team. They got to fix that, in my opinion. I feel like the NBA draft really needs an organized way of doing these trades, because it drives me crazy see when a team announces a player and you're like, oh yeah, he's not going to that team. He's going to that team. Like it's just like, where's everyone going? And it took us like literally 3 hours to figure out what the Knicks got back in these trades. But man, I mean, I still am happy that the Knicks were able to acquire a lot of this ammunition because it tells me the Knicks have a plan, but I can't tell you anything about the plan because we just don't know what it is. So we have to sit and wait until free agency and until the NBA trades start, because the Knicks have the cap space now. They have the ammunition now to be aggressive in the trade market or to be aggressive in the free agent market to make something happen. So now let's just wait and see if they make the right moves. But Leon Rose, I'll finish it off with this. You have to make sure you make the right move and be aggressive with all this ammunition, because you cannot continue with this conservative approach of not drafting players and just trading back and acquiring picks without actually using those picks for a grand master plan. And I really hope you have it. I still believe in you. I'm not going to judge you as the Knicks president until I see this entire offseason being completed. So let's hope that something happens in a positive manner, and I'll be covering it all on Knicks Media here. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you're new. Like the video if you guys enjoyed. Comment your thoughts of this entire video and your entire thoughts of all the trades that went down. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. Comment down below a Statue of Liberty emoji if you stayed to the end of the video, because I know this is a longer video of me rambling about what the hell the Knicks did tonight. But again, guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts down below, and let's go Knicks. Peace out.